Let's see. Welcome, everybody, to the Decisions Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host, Jared, and I will answer any question that you have regarding decisions to the best of my ability. If I can demonstrate it, I'll demonstrate it. If it's something we can have a verbal discussion on, we can just talk about it. I'll have my Q&A and I'll have my the chat available. So if you're interested and however way you send in those questions, just let me know and we'll have a good discussion. A couple things that are fun to be aware of is we do have a Decisions YouTube channel. We post a lot of different things in there. I'm posting a channel in the webinar chat. That's basically where we post a lot of new features and a lot of new videos. We post pretty regularly on that. And if you're ever curious what those new features that come in new versions do, we do have videos that will explain them. One in particular that's an example of this is the all about flex layouts. We have a new flex layout in 9.14, I believe. I think it's like 9.13, 9.14, probably 9.14. And that's a different way to have dynamic forms move different form controls into different orientations that look better views for your end user who will use them. So that's a fun thing. So please like, comment, and subscribe on that. If you have any suggestions on new videos, just email training@decisions.com. We also have I think it's marketplace.decisions.com. I think that's what it's called. Yes, it is. And that's where we have all of our um, example projects in the My App Store. So if you're ever curious on how to search for things, autocomplete questionnaire, ChatGPT, traceability metrics, different AI things, document extraction with AI, that will definitely be a good one to take a look at. AI call coaching, right? A lot of what we're doing is trying to show people how AI is leveraged in decisions, because that's the capability that we're, in just the world in general is kind of working towards. So some great stuff here. Definitely take a look at them and download and test them out. Alrighty, with that being said, I think that's everything. If you're ever curious on some events, I think there will be upcoming up on our website. It's not on our website just yet, but we will have um, a Submerse event in quarter 4. So obviously we're still in the end of quarter 3 because we got September, but somewhere I believe it's in October, we will be having another Submerse event. We rotate through different projects. And so this time we will go and talk about another project and maybe talk about some more advanced concepts too. So that would be something fun that we'll see inside of next month. So probably I would say near the end of this week, we'll have, a lunch and learn slide with that stuff on it so you guys can know how to get enrolled, what we're going to talk about, and all of that good stuff. Alrighty, sorry for that long advertisement introductions. Now back to our regular programming. Any questions that you guys have, which I think we got one. Q&A. Yeah, we do. All right, cool. We got some. I got Shane and I got Joey. I'm going to start off with Shane first. I'm trying to have a Word template with checkbox options display in the selected checkbox value from the form. Sorry if that's a bit confusing. All right, let me ask you. I'm going to allow you to talk permissions. Shane, so what are you trying to do?
Uh, Sorry, is this working? Yeah,
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
perfect. Yeah, so I have a basically like a Word document, right, that I'm turning into a template,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm turning into a PDF, right? So, what happens is I think I'll use the what is that step called? Uh, Replace text in Word document, right? I'll use that. Um,
Okay.
and um, and typically I would use that to just kind of throw in like the values that they selected on a prior form, and those values display fine. Like that's not an issue. The
Mm-hmm.
problem I'm having though here is simply this, is that on the form there is ba basically like a radio box effectively, um, or radio button
Mm-hmm.
list where the user can select different um, items from a static radio button
Mm-hmm.
list effectively.
I got you.
And um, and on the Word document, it has that same thing. Although I'm not sure exactly how I would do how I could do the template itself. Now, I know that there's different ways I could do it, technically
Mm,
speak. Like I could do it the uh kind of awful way of having it be uh how do I say, like doing different like basically like a whole like rule set and having it be like, oh, is this selected? Okay, do have this be the template. But I'm wondering if it like how I could basically just pass in that value by itself, if that makes sense.
mm,
Like if I like so because on the form there's again like they'll select like whatever one of the options of from this like radio
correct. Yeah.
button list, and then on the template itself it has that same radio button list effectively, and I want to basically have it so it passes in the value of like saying like okay they selected these. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure exactly how to do that. So on the step for replace
Okay.
text in a Word document, I'm using the replace mode being by tokens.
Mm,
But from the but from what what I've seen in the documentation, it's more uh there's another step to do it for an actual checkbox, and that's the part I'm having trouble with.
oh, what version are you on? Version 8 or 9?
This is version 1 second. 8, 8.22.
8.22. Okay. I'll show you some stuff. I think this is, even though I'm in version 9, it should still be relevant to your use case. If I have a test form, I know what you're talking about, radio button lists. Now, now when you get it, does it have to be a Word document or no?
Um, I mean, I guess kinda like so like they'll basically put in whatever it is on the form. It's just the template that I've been given it was one that is from a Word document.
Okay. There's a couple things you can do with that. I wonder if I can do this. I might have time to show. Let's dive into it. We got time. All right. So what I would do, so let me just grab my form here and the document template. We can imagine that my form looks like the document template that we have. And now let's say I have, I'm just gonna create a really quick Word document. Create this off screen. Blank.
Mhm.
Boom. All right, I got a Word document. I'll say this is select item thingy. All right, and then I have, let's see what I got. Where's the whole square? Okay, I'm not going to do too much of the sign. So let's say I have this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Can I make this bigger? Hey, I can. We're just going to say this is my radio button list. Darn it. I did not mean to do that. And then I'll say this is, what did I say? I think I said it was Johnny, Susie, and Timmy. All right, cool. So we got Johnny, Susie, and Timmy. All right, cool. Let me just go ahead and save this off screen into documents. No, let's do desktop. My desktop. Select worker. All right, so now we do it there. All right, so now I should have this. There we go. I got it right there. All right, cool. So now let's say I select that item and I want the corresponding item to be selected. How many items are going to be in the list?
Um, so for one of them, so there's two different kinds. So there are two different checkboxes. One, two, one has three options, and then the other one has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven options.
Okay, cool. That we could probably do this. It won't be too big of a lift. Word to PDF. Is there any? That is a step. I know that is a step. Is there any? Will that number increase?
I
Like,
don't, I
no.
don't
Okay.
think so. I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Let me find Word. Oh, that's right. It's called convert document, not covert. Covert. Can't know about it.
Can't know.
'Cause- yeah, you can't know. Yeah, what I was thinking is, so let's say I get this file.
Hmm.
File, I'm going to upload this into the inputs of that. And this is my Word document, right? Kind of similar, you know, processing it the way you would have. Obviously, you probably would get this from another system. Like my file, I'm just going to manually input this, but you probably get it from somewhere else.
Hmm.
And then what I can do is my converted document, I could say I want it from a Word to a PDF, and I can pass in my document, flow data, file, boom. And then what I can do, can I add image? I think it's add image to PDF or something. Key PDF. There we go. Add image to PDF. And I'll probably need another, right. And I could say, what's the image file data? Can I say a constant? I think there's got to be a check mark. There's no check mark. Can I use? I'm just gonna, let's see if I think I download something real quick. There's like icon monster or something. Icon monster. Yeah. Let's just find a check or a tick. Not a ticket. Check mark.
Uh, yeah, like checkbox.
Yeah. Well, no, this is all I want. I just
Oh.
want this thing. And then I'll download this. This would probably be, I don't need this that huge. Maybe about like that big. I don't know how big these documents are, but I'll go ahead and let's download that. Perfect. So now I got that. All right, cool. So that's good. We have that. And so now all I have to do is choose file. And then I could say download that tick box. Boom. All right. So now
Hmm.
all we have to do, let's do offset and points. And then let's see where this thing, I don't know where this starts. So let's say 50 and 50 and then image size and points. Let's say we want it, I think it's like what, 50, 50, 50, right? So let's do that. So now I have to pass in that converted document that I'm getting from, oop, wrong one, converted document that I'm getting from that other thing. And then
Hmm.
I need to create another form just so you can see this example work. Show form. Pick exist. Oh no, create new. And this is going to be my show it working form. And then I'll switch this to a document viewer. We'll put that here, slide that over the whole thing so we could see it. And then I'll say this is my file. Input type will be file data. And we should be good on that one. I don't need a button in this context because I don't care about it ending
Hmm.
the process. This would be PDF document result, not file. So we want PDF document result right there from here. Okay, cool. So now all we have to do is we have that selected item list. All do we need to know? Okay, so let's just do, let's see. All right, I think I got it. Let's try. Let's try. All right, cool. I'm going to debug this. Choose a file. I think I did it in desktop, I think, and I went that one. We run this. Oh, okay, so it did work. Okay, so it converted that. Let's say I just pick Johnny. We go forward. And then, okay, cool. So that's where that is. So now what I can do here is let me make this thing smaller, the checkbox smaller, and let me add it to there. And so I'd say the size is a little bit big, so let's do here. And then the vertical offset, I think it was a little too tall. So let's do 100. And I think that will be better. So let's do this. Can I choose a file? And I'm going to save this as a unit test so I don't have to keep picking that file. This has been my file unit test. And then we save. Perfect. And then I run it. It's going to take a little bit. but it's cached now, so it should be faster. And then we get to see, okay, cool. So now I'm getting a little farther. So essentially, let me get this right, and then I'll explain to you what I'm doing. Let's do 150, and then we'll make this 75. And we'll do this like let's do 15 for the height of the thing. And file unit test. Boom. Rerun it. Let's select Johnny. And okay. So I went a little too high. And so the vertical offset, I think it needs to be more. And I think this offset is a little too high. I think I need to be 100, 100. I think it starts on the top left corner of the form or of the document to determine the path for it. Okay, so now it's got to be a little bit farther down. A little bit farther down. Vertical offset, we want 125. And then we can debug this. Again, Johnny. Okay, good. So now I got it on the right level. So we know that that's there. And then we want the horizontal. Let's make this because it's so close. I'm going to say this is like an 80. Horizontal offset with an 80. And then now we debug this file, debug Johnny. And oh, we overshot it just a little bit. So to move it to
Maybe
the right.
85,
Yeah, I wanted to go 90.
90. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom. Put this here. Johnny. And then I just need to make that a little bit higher. So, or sorry, a little bit lower. So instead of it being 90, let's do 87. I think that will be, then we're cooking. Then we're cooking. Johnny. Da, 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 da. Okay, cool. And then I can move that around. Let me make that a little bit. I think making that 85. I might make this just a little bit bigger just so you can see it covered most of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can go ahead and add that there. Oh no, I did that, the vertical, because it's a little larger. Vertical, 115. And then Johnny, of course. It's always that. But this is essentially the idea I'm suggesting is there's like the token thing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that route too well, but what I do know is that you can utilize, we actually do this in a project that we have. Let's do 90. We do this in an I9 generation project where we actually teach people how to like manipulate autofill PDFs for people. And what we do is we essentially have the same paradigm here where we say that, boom, okay, cool, I'll take it. That looks good. Basically with this paradigm is we can say, okay, instead of having to, try to create these tokens or these icons for the Word document, because I presume what you're using, and I'll export this and give it to you so you can just see, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how I did it. Is when you use these Word ones, I think if you have to set up the Word document in a certain way. Let's see, you can also add images straight to the Word document. So I think that's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing as this one. And the offsets maintain aspect ratio. So you can even do it without converting the document. You could just use add image to the document.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what how I would handle that is say, okay, instead of me trying to say, how could I find the tokens or bookmarks? All I have to say is, okay, I can change how I want the image size to be from percentage to points. And so you can specify the points basically just as how big you want the image to be. And then the rest of it, make sure that you change the what is it? The offset to be in points. Because if you use percentages, you just have to know the percentage of the area you want it to occupy, which is just, I haven't determined a way to figure that out. So the
Mm-hmm.
easiest way is just to specify in points and then just add in data and see how it gets, you to the correct point point selection. Now, the next part that I didn't show is you won't need a rule set to do this, but you will need like some type of truth table that will allow you to say, okay, if the selected item is Johnny, okay, the point system to put that checkbox is 120 and 90. And then you can specify these things to you could choose values at runtime, and then now they're inputs. And so that's how you would handle that is, okay, I have my truth table. I know the vertical offset for Johnny is 120 and the horizontal offset is 90. I'm going to go ahead and create that truth table of information. If it is going to grow, like let's say next year you might have 10 items and you need the new percentages,
Hmm.
then you can use an external truth table, which would be more encouraged because then you could just create a process that says add new entry, and then you add new entry to it, and then it automatically will run in your process. And you only have to make one change and it will propagate through every instance you've utilized it. So that makes it, a little bit easier because then you can just have a process where someone could say, hey, we need to add these new, values into it.
So
So,
basically, we're adding uh an image onto the document itself, and
mhm.
this is all before I believe it's turned into a PDF. And or no, this is after it's turned into a PDF. But
Yep. In my
okay.
current process, I do convert it to a PDF, but I didn't know this. We have the same step for a Word doc. So this conversion process, you don't have to follow like I did. You can just say, okay, instead of converting it, I can actually, obviously it's going to break my logic, but what you can do in yours, you can just, remove this, you add the selection here, and then you just replace, this step that I have here instead of the PDF to be the document here, and then
Hmm.
add in the points and values dynamically. So,
Right. Right. Okay. Okay.
mhm,
So, and then in order to kind of do it based off of user choice, I basically just do like a truth table that kind
mhm.
of sees what has been selected. And since there are two, right? Since there are two different um I guess things to kind of select from, uh I guess I would do like kind of two truth tables that pass in two different values, and then I put the two check marks kind of wherever they need to go. I think that's kind of what you're saying.
You could do it as two, or you can even make it as one. You just you just have to have some type of type. Like this is the car list type. This one is the people or worker list type. And then based on that type, it'll filter out which selection to go on. So it could be two, it could be one. It just depends on how you want to set it up.
Right, right.
So
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, I think I can give that a shot. Yeah,
Awesome. All right, cool, man. Yeah,
cool.
I'll send you an email with this exports and stuff so that you'll have it and you can just, play around with the things that I've saved and I've used.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Alrighty, next question. All right, Joey asked, hello, I want to delete columns from an Excel file where column names are not in a list. Currently unable to remove columns, only data inside, which leads to issues with the import Excel step. Alrighty, I'm not sure I followed Joey, but I gave you permission to talk. Could
Yep.
you expound more upon that?
So we receive data templates, and sometimes those templates have fields in them that we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so right now I have like lots of different import from Excel steps that have different scenarios of like how many fields are in that file. But I
Mm,
want to add
okay.
some flexibility that says,
Mm,
well, like this is like there's 200 fields that we want to collect data from. And
sure.
if there's a field that isn't in the set that I want, like remove that from the file so I don't have to have so many different like
Mm,
examples of import from Excel. But the problem I'm having is like in the Excel like data steps, there's like a delete row, but not a delete column. So I can like set the
mm.
values in a column to zero, but like say that column is like halfway through the list, then I still have like an Excel file with too many columns, say.
Sure. Sure. I'm sure you're using this step to import
Yeah, yeah.
CSV by column names.
Yep.
so is it a constant that we all like you have 100 column names, right?
Yeah.
You're always in this process going to want the first three. I mean, it might not be the first three, but like, let's say first name, last name, and email for sake of example.
Yeah.
I just want those three and I just can ignore all 97 of them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
But the problem is
Hmm.
like they're not
Do
always
it.
in order, and those extra fields might be because I could do it obviously by place, but
Hmm.
the problem is if they have like a
Yeah.
field, the column that's before name, date, email, like there's another field that I can't then I don't want to use. So I'm doing
Right.
everything by column name basically
Correct.
because
So
of
yeah,
the yeah.
because first name and last name and email aren't like right after each other. You have first name, column A, column E is
Yeah.
email, column J is. I got you. All right, that's a good question. Let me ponder for a second. How would we do this? Because if we can't delete columns, and I'm seeing your point there, we can't delete columns. Is there a way? Can we use what happens? All right, let's do this. I have something. Let's experiment. We'll have fun. All right, so let's do. Um, all right, so I'm just gonna create this here. All right, so you'll see me create just a blank Excel file. I got first name, right? We got data there, but then we have, let's say column one, right? And then call two, and then we might have email, right? And then we'll have call five, four, call three, and then we have last name. So our objective, just make sure I'm understanding it. Oh, that's not what is. Yeah, I want this one, and this one, but these B, C, D, and F, I don't want. And I want some way to either delete or where I can just automatically ignore those columns instead of having to um what is it, account for all 200 columns, right? Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me just I'm just gonna add some data here. So we'll say J, and we'll say Tim, and we'll say Rico. And then over here, I'll say Rico J at mail. This is just so I have some data, Tim at
Yep.
tim.com, and then J at J dot at hey. Sure, why not? Hey. And then we'll say Simmons and Alvarez. All right, so now we got those. So I only want those pieces of things. All right, so I'm going to save this off screen as I test some things. Oh, that's not what I want. Where's desktop? Ba, 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 ba. More locations. I want desktop. Where's the desktop? That's where I want it. Browse. Desktop. And I'll say this is the column test Excel. Cool. All right. So I got that one. All right. So I got the data that I want to deal with. I'm curious. How does the data, if I get, I'm thinking, I wonder, I wonder. Could we do, okay, well, let's do this. What happens if you, okay, but that's not, here's what I'm trying to do. And I'm just kind of going through all the possible permutations of how I can do it in decisions, or ways I can think of to do it decisions. Is I know like when like when you use like front end web technology, there's like steps you can do like a JavaScript to be like, hey, I don't care about this property when I pass it into something. I just want to delete that part of the object so I can just
Hmm.
send the data I need. I'm wondering if we can do something like that. The limiting factor, and that's where my brain's trying to process, is how do I get this data that's in an Excel format into a JSON object that I can manipulate? Because once we could do that, there's a lot of data object manipulations.
Okay.
If I could do, let me just show you. advanced, and there's also, let's see, not data pairs. That's what it is, right? Data pairs. And what we can do is we can get certain things by their data pairs. So I'm thinking, so this is like the latter half of the equation. That if I got this data in a JSON object, I could say, hey, grab first name data pairs, grab email data pairs, and grab last name data pairs. And then that will be all of the data in first name and the list of its corresponding data pairs, and then email, and then all of its data pairings. And so that's kind of where my thing is. How do I get this part from that? What I could do, let's try this. Here's an idea. Let's explore. This is fun. Create data types and integrations. We have something called an Excel to CSV, a type, and I'm wondering if, let's see, first row is field names. This is document stuff. Structure name is this is test. Are you utilizing any CSV structure names at all?
No, I'm not doing anything like this at the moment. No.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I'm not like sharing something that you've already explored. All right, so I can paste the data here. Can I just do the file? I thought I could do the file. Read from file. Thank you. I knew it was there somewhere. And so I can do an Excel. That's what I thought. So I can do an Excel. And obviously, this would be like your 200 things.
Mhm.
Create database table for type. You could, but you don't really want to store this data, do you? Because it'd be kind of, I'm presuming you get this from somewhere else. So storing would be redundant.
Yeah, I'm just taking the data and then moving it out. Yeah, I don't need to.
Okay, so perfect. So then I won't say create database table, because if we wanted, we could store it in a database table, but from the description you gave, I was like, it probably doesn't, you probably don't want to store it anywhere. You just want to get it. All right, cool. So now it's a data type. How do I use this? Let's go to Excel stuff. All right, we'll set this one to the side. And then we shall, um, let's see, deserialize from CSV. Yeah, I know that we get this, which is input file data. Okay. 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 This is promising. I don't want to get too excited just yet. So if I pass this in here, let me just add file data, because I'm sure we're going to get this from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I go to file data and I click save, and then I close and save. And then let's just do this. I just want to see what happens. Flow data, file data. And then let's just debug this, and I'll grab my column test Excel. I'm going to save this as a unit test. Excel data test, and save, start debugging. How does that work? Okay, cool. So that gave us all of that, and so it outputted the 3 items, because that's what I have. Okay.
Mhm.
Now I only want first name, email, last name. So this helps because now I'm in this domain. How though? And that outputs as a list of tests. Okay, a list of tests. That's a horrible name. This is why I'm not naming. Okay, so if I want to get a list of data pairs and I want the name, I'm going to say the name's just first name. Ah, that's the problem because they're not data pairs. Oh, wait. That's not true. That's not true. That's so not true. I can say get data. That's what I'm using. Get data pair by name. It's that's it. It is data object properties to data pairs. Okay, cool. And then we do this. And then I get these. Okay, cool. And then this is cool because just an object, so I can pass anything. Hopefully this doesn't break. I might not like it because it's not a list. Okay, that didn't really. So the output won't look the same because it's just changing the type from test to list of data pairs. And so now I believe, can I get now when I do the list of data pairs, object data pairs output. Now if I can grab, well, I think it's gotta be first name because that's the name of the actual like data pair type. Okay, now let's see. What do we get? Okay, this is interesting. And if we do this, darn it. Okay, it didn't. So there's no first name. Did I pass in the right thing? So it didn't output anything. Get data pair by name. Okay, get the data pair by name. Okay, so wait, get data pair by name. So I'm not sure. I already got that object properties to data pairs. Now, how much data are you dealing with? Like, is it like millions of records, 500,000 records?
No, I mean like say like the total template is like 233 fields and then it can be upwards of like 100,000 records. So
Okay.
it can like that's probably like
Mm-hmm.
like the average is like between like 10 and 20,000, but then there's some
Okay.
outliers that are like really big.
Okay, so that's not too bad. Okay. Because then with this, so I think this step, this is get data pair by name. I wonder if I just use this with here, does that make a difference? Over here. Let's see. I don't need this now, but if I go to see, but I can select it here. So this step, I don't think it's this step. I think this is the step I'm looking for because then let's say, okay, okay. So this is a list of data pairs, right? Let's do this. I just want to for each this because I'm just trying to learn. I'm trying to solidify in my mind what the data pair data looks like. So
Mm.
this would not, obviously this build does nothing because it's just looping through an annotation step. But what I want to know is when I pass in that list of data pairs, object to data pairs, and yeah, it's not going to be that much because I don't have a lot of data. So this is a good small test. So I want to, yeah, no, that's fine. I want to, okay, oh, I'm looping through something different. Okay, I'm looping through something different. So it's not just the data pair properties output. It's all output value. All right, because that's what I was wondering. I was like, that looks weird. That's not what I'm looking. I was expecting to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that makes more sense to me. So now I have this. And so now the collection, yeah, I'm just looking for that. I'm not sure what these numbers are for. And then now, let me grab that data pair step again. Set properties, get string, get property on object, get property names. Get property names on object. And then get data pair by name. All right, so that's still not the data that I thought I'd get. Let me go back to this one because I think I used it wrong. Flow data, object properties, but then I need to go to the output value. But it won't like it because it's not data pairs. Okay, so that's why it hates it. So never mind. I'd think that we can set aside this step. Now, if I want to get properties on the object, now what I could say on the object, because it would be a list of stuff. So if I deserialize this, let's see what this stuff gives. Because I think we're really close. It's just trying to find out what's the pattern. Output length is fixed. Okay, so that's not. Unless, because it's a list, I'm dealing with a list. I wonder if that's messing with it. And so it's giving me like all the list stuff. So let's just do the first. Because then this should give me. Oh, no, I didn't put
Mm.
I just hit debug. And then, okay, there we go. So that gives me a list of all the column names I want. And so then, can I loop through the data with just saying, and so I got that. And so I can say, hey, with those specific values, get object properties to data pairs. Okay. And then some data. So we get the object property to data pairs. Do I do the whole thing or do I do first? Okay, I just do the whole thing. Let me test this one out. I think I'll just put this here. Okay. Oh no, this one. I want the first one here. So I just say first, and then now this data here gets me here. Okay, so that gives me, and so that's the inputs. Sure, I understand why I would get that part. But this is all I really want. And then I can say, okay, delete, delete. Yeah, or you can create a process that says, okay. So then how do I use this step? I think, isn't Gregory, isn't there a video over the get data pairs stuff?
I'm checking right now. That sounds familiar.
Okay, I thought there was. Because what I'm confused by is this one right here should have given us. Like if I say first name, I think it should have like taken the first name property out. Okay, there we go. So it did do that.
Yeah, we got one. I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great because I thought we did. Okay, so these 7 values, and I said, okay, first name. Okay, now this is working the way I expected it to. I don't know what I did. But the problem is, now it's only giving us one data, but I have 2 sets of data because I have. Oh, I think. Oh, wait. I know why. I'm grabbing. Oh, I know why. Because here's outputting the list. Okay, so if that outputs the list. Okay, here we go. So if that outputs the list, and then I for each that list from here, because that's the problem. Which is, if you did this, that's what it would do. You would have something that says, all right. Okay, this is coming along. So we can get object to data pairs, and then we can say, okay, we want certain properties from that object. I'm just going to do one for right now because I think if I could do it for one, we can we could safely assume then okay, now we just have to figure out how to extrapolate that to multiple. And
Yeah.
then I'm just going to add that to a list because it outputs a data pair. Perfect. And then I could say add item to list. That's what I want to do here. I just want to add an item to a list. And so the original list flow data, we're going to say it is the new list. And then the new item will be, let me make this a data pair. I just wanted this to be a list of data pairs. Data pair. There we go. And so now the original list is going to be the new list. And then the unknown item is going to be the get data pair by name alpha. Yep. Because I'm hoping what we should see is, let's say if I select first name, we should see first name Jay, first name Tim, first name Rico, and that's the only 3 in the list. That's what should happen. So let's debug this to see if that happens. Okay. Okay, so just see. Oh, I know why. My mapping's off. I say, yeah, I didn't map this. Okay, let me fix the mapping. I was like, what? I think it will work because once I fix this mapping, because now I have to take it from the for each step. And so now it's going to say, okay, we're going to get the data pairs of that. And then I could say, hey, get the property on. I think that's fine. That doesn't do anything in the data. But then the data pairs, let's say get object. So object properties, data pair, and then get object properties. Let's do the data explorer because I'm getting lost in my data. Okay, that is right. So I think that should work. And so if I do this, can we go all 3? 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3. 3 Original list. Okay, yeah, but what's the output? I should have all three in here. So a couple of things we just gotta add into. Oh, I know why. Original list. Oh yeah, that is. So if the original list is new list, which is nothing. So yeah, so for some reason it's not saving the rest of the data, but theoretically this should, at the end of it. Yeah, that's the new item. So it's getting it. I always get lost with this new debugger because right now it's null, so we're adding the new item, but now it's original list, all right, is 2. So I believe it would give you all 3.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say because it's already like I see it doing it previously. It's just in this debugger window, it's a little confusing and I don't understand. I think it's just saying that it did do that. So here's the great test. Create data. And I just want to grab that, create a list, just grab that new list value. And I think data pair is list, final list. And then we shall flow data, new list. And then now it should give us everything. I don't understand. Gregory, do you know if this is expected behavior? Because this doesn't make any sense to me. What's happening here?
Not fully getting it either. So it's going through the for each.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious because basically, I want to say it's a debug thing. Because if I see it coming in with the add items to list step, I think it's getting all of the data, and so I believe we should be fine in that regard. I'm in it, but essentially, to go back to your original question, Joey, is I think something like this would help us get the properties where you can say, hey, let me first create a CSV or Excel type from my Excel data. The
Yep.
advantage of this is this helps us have all of the data in a JSON format that allows us to then leverage these other property data pair types to say, okay, I just want this data pair. I just want this data pair. I just want this data pair. I could
Yeah.
ignore everything else.
Got it. Yeah.
And then I think the process, I mean, you have to words, like I guess decision smith it a little bit to get the data that you're specifically looking for, but it'd be something like this. And then now you can have a process that you create that says, okay, look for these 3 values. It gets those 3 values and all of the values, those columns, and then all of the values below those columns. And then you can, mix and match them however you want, or make another flow structure data type, and then you can combine those together and say, hey, it's just these 3. That's all I need. But it'd be something like that would get you that stuff. I'll export this data to you so you have it and you can see what
Yeah.
steps I used for it. So,
Okay. No,
yeah.
this is helpful. Thank you.
Good. Awesome. All right. Any other questions? All right. C1. Go ahead, VT.
Jared, on item to list, just change value of new list.
Just
On
change
the
value
output.
news, but then
Yeah.
it goes away though, I think.
No, if you change value, it will add to that list.
Does it? Ooh, okay. Then that's still a visual bug though, because it looks like it's working. That's a visual bug.
But your final list is 3 items, as you expected.
No, exactly. But the outputs is what's confusing.
Oh yeah,
Because
sure.
it makes it seem like it's only outputting the last item when in reality it actually is it is all through records, but that's not a
Yeah, it outputs the last item that you have added.
yeah, exactly, which is just weird to me. To me, it should show, hey, if you're passing in the list, then it will output that entire list to be consistent.
That's expected.
You think so? That
Yeah.
output?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's always been like that.
Cool. Alrighty. Any other final comments or questions? Oh, we got one. Grant, don't you want to use the change value at the? Yeah, well, I think it works both ways. So if I set it to rename, And because it's, the variable is new list and it's the exact same variable, it will automatically update that value. So like, even if I go back to the way it was, if we go here, I still have all three there. So in this case, that's why, I didn't use the change value step, because I wasn't defining a different list bucket. I was just saying, hey, I already got this new list, rename everything new list. And then when you have the same variable name, decisions will just automatically update the values within it instead of overwriting it. Yeah. That pro tip, I guess. But okay, but at least that now I understand that output, because that output was very confusing, because I was like, I'm missing data here on the outputs, but I could see here, yeah, it's inputting all three, so I have all three in it. So I'm just doing my own sanity check, because that just looks weird to me. Subject list count. And if I do final list and we just do count, I should say 3 items. Okay, yeah, it has it all. 3 count, 3. Just had to do that test for myself. All right, cool. Any other questions that we can answer? We got 7 minutes left. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. I think that was a really good day of questions, and really interesting ones about the Word document and Excel stuff. So thank you so much for those questions. Tomorrow we will also have another Lunch and Learn. Gregory Goldston will be running that one. So please set that event on your calendars. We'd love to have you again, asking some very intriguing questions and, us exploring decisions together. So thank you so much for attending, and I'll see you guys next time.